When forecasting stock market returns, starting conditions matter. What are the valuations? Let me illustrate. Here's a chart put together by Rob Arnott of Research Affiliates. The blue line shows what's known as the Shiller earnings yield. This is inflation-adjusted earnings over 10 years divided by the price. The higher the earnings yield, the cheaper the valuations. Now, the red line shows returns over rolling 10-year periods. Notice that when the blue line earnings yield is very high, signaling cheap valuations, the subsequent 10-year returns for the U.S. stock market have also been very high. On the other hand, when the earnings yield was low, the blue line, the red line shows the 10-year returns were low. Now, let's look at this using AssetCamp, our stock and bond market index research tool, so we can actually put some numbers to this analysis. Here's the cyclically adjusted earnings yield for the U.S. stock market, the Shiller earnings yield. Let's go to a period where stocks were expensive. Right now, stocks are expensive. The earnings yield is 2.8%. If we go to November 2000, the earnings yield was about the same as it is today, with very expensive U.S. stocks. What was the return over that 10-year period from November 2000 through November 2010? Well, there it is, 0.26% for the U.S. stock market. U.S. growth didn't do very well either. Now let's find a period where the U.S. stock market was cheap. February 2009, the cyclically adjusted earnings yield was 8.7%, almost one standard deviation cheaper than average. What was the 10-year return following that cheap valuation? U.S. stock market returned 15.9% over the next 10 years. There's a myth that Rob Arnott addresses in his paper that forecasting stock market returns and bond market returns is difficult. It's not. If you understand the drivers, which are income growth, and changes in valuations. When the stock market is incredibly expensive like it is today, then we should expect lower stock market returns over the next decade. Now, if you want to try the tools we have on AssetCamp yourself, we offer a free 7-day free trial. You can do that at assetcamp.com.